All right, I got to go to Gilbert, and I have to get some records for my daughter at the government admin building. But the interesting thing here is I will risk certain death, okay? I have to get the records, but I don't have to go and look at some historical buildings, because the building next to it is the oldest standing structure in Gilbert, Arizona. And Gilbert was a bit late to the party because it wasn't a mining town like so many other towns here in Arizona. But there is also one that may be fake. And so I want to see a number of, in that area in the south part of Gilbert, the historic district. I want to see a couple of the buildings, and I will risk certain death here because one of the buildings may actually be older than the 1913 building. So I have to see that. I don't know. We'll see. But the air quality here in Mesa, in the valley, is off the charts bad. And the heat is staggering. Well, kind of normal for July in Arizona. So let me know in the comments what you think. What's going to die first here? Is it going to be the camera because of the extreme heat, or am I going to fall over dead because the air quality is so bad? All right, I got the records, really cool, but while I'm here, I can see some historic buildings. This was the original elementary school and is the first school here in Gilbert. Oh, it's the oldest structure in Gilbert, Arizona. It was built in 1913, and they've got some awesome historical equipment here. Look at that. This is all real. And so some of the original families, I was just had a lot of details given to me. A lot of the original families that settled here in Gilbert, they donated these. Look at this. Oh man, that is awesome. An actual, I'm not a fan of the band, but an actual REO Speedwagon. That is cool. Model T. Oh, that is so cool. Now, it is, like I mentioned, it is over 110 degrees here, so I'm putting my life at risk to show you these historical buildings. Here, they got some equipment. Okay, so here they got more equipment. I can't get to the courtyard, but they do have a bunch of this old vintage equipment, farm equipment. Gilbert, Arizona, obviously it being an agricultural area. Oh, that's an old tiller. See, I know some places like a U-Haul, they have fake stuff. This stuff is actually real. So we've got a few more pieces here. I don't even know what that is supposed to be, but it definitely looks cool. Somebody in the, if you recognize what that piece of machinery is, you let me know what that is supposed to be. It looks like it's processing something. Oh wow, that is really cool. All right, built about 6 years after the elementary school, which is there. They built the high school here about 1919, and then this part was built in 1920. It's now the Gilbert Schools Educational Complex, which is where I had to come today to get my daughter's records. So I figured I would show some of these historical buildings. Yeah, that is over 100 years old, the original high school in Gilbert, Arizona. They used to go to use the Mesa School District. I got two more known historical buildings here, structures here in Gilbert, and I'm hoping I'm going to have a third one, because again, it's up in the air as to whether this particular structure, which would be 1910, which would be the oldest structure in Gilbert, if it actually is still here. So I'll know here in a little bit. All right, here at the Gilbert Water Tower, which is right down the street from the schools, and it's a good thing too, because it's hot enough that I feel like I'm gonna die. But this, built a few years after, in the late 19-teens, I think 1919 or 1918. This is the Gilbert Water Tower, and they got a little park there. But what's really cool is, and I've done some videos about this, they light it on national, I think it's World Down Syndrome Day. But unfortunately, because of all the construction that they had done here, and they redid all of this, they didn't light it for the last couple years, so hopefully next year. I'm gonna go across the street here where man, it's really hot. Can get you a good view of that. It is absolutely spectacular at night, even when they are not lighting it up for anything special, but they light it for Christmas and whatnot. So that's the Gilbert Water Tower, which you can see for a mile or two, which is really cool. That's a benefit of living where it's really flat. Gilbert's just like Mesa, it's really flat. And then for the other historical, this is one of the oldest structures, again, here in Gilbert, Arizona. It doesn't look like it, but this is actually built in 1913, the second oldest structure in Gilbert, Arizona. I give you the first jail in Gilbert, Arizona. This is actually it was not meant for long term. They probably have, you know, go to Florence or Mesa. Well, Florence is at, you know, for the prison. This is the first jail. It was meant just for 1 or 2 people for overnight. I think there's something written over here. There's some bars. Some, maybe the original clay. Yeah, did you know the pump house also served occasionally as a temporary jail? Yeah, while they sobered up, Gilbert sent their lawbreakers to Chandler and Mesa prior to construction of the town hall in '38. The permanent jail is located in the rear portion of the new building. So, yeah, that's second oldest structure here in Gilbert, Arizona. I figures this first or second oldest structures would be a school and a prison. That is really cool. Another view of that jail. We'll get the jail from the back. The windows obviously look like they're fairly new. They would not be original. That all looks original. All right, now to go see if it, now this place was supposed, it's online, supposed to be have been built right down the street in 1910, which, if it's still standing, would be the oldest structure in Gilbert. Again, some say it's there, some say it is not. And judging by the picture, it probably isn't, but it is worth a look. All right, and it is still ungodly hot, 113. It's supposed to be down on Guadalupe between Gilbert and Cooper, so I just turned off of Gilbert Road. This was supposed to be used for farming. Maybe, I think they might have said that it was also used for ostrich farming, which I know they have down off of I-10 towards Tucson, the Marana area, I guess. This is all modern stuff. It probably doesn't exist anymore. So the first one that I showed was supposed to be the oldest structure in Gilbert, Arizona, which is still standing, which was the school. So it doesn't look like, yeah, no. It could be behind a wall, but this is it. I've hit the nope, I'll turn around. All right, I'm safely back home. Unfortunately, the 5th historical building not standing, and it makes sense looking from the picture. It's not standing, so there were mixed decisions. I'm able to post that it is not standing anymore. If you made it this far, let me know what you think. Was it worth risking certain death or heat exhaustion to take some time, since I had to be in Gilbert anyway? Was it worth risking heat exhaustion, heat stroke, just to get a few minutes of video?